everyone. Welcome and welcome back. We all want to be loved and understood and seen and heard. And last week's video sparked a lot of awesome conversation about relationships. And I'm feeling called to speak on the 5 love languages today and ways that we can learn more about ourselves, but also learn more about the people in our lives and how we all want to be loved and how we can show up for each other the way that makes the other person feel seen and heard and understood and loved. So, a lot of suffering in relationships happens because we go into relationships offering our love and attention in ways that we would like to receive love and attention, assuming that the other person receives love and perceives love and affection in the same way. And this goes for our family relationships, our friendships, but in particular, our romantic relationships. So issues in relationships arise when we misunderstand each other's needs. And some of us don't even know our own needs. So, I mean, that's a great place to start, is getting really clear on what your needs are in relationships so that you can clearly communicate them to the people that you love. And so that everyone can be on the same page in terms of what each of us needs so that we can learn how to love each other. I had a beautiful interaction with a friend of mine not long ago where we were having a discussion about a topic, and I expressed my own view and my own need, and she looked at me and she was like, "Thank you for teaching me how to love you better." And I was like, wow, so grateful to have a friend like you. Oh, I got a little teary. But that really hit home for me. And these are the kinds of friendships that are so special to me, are the ones where your people are like, how can I love you? How can I love you better? What do you need? What do you need in terms of communication? What do you need in terms of time that we spend together, things like that. And so this keeps bringing me back to the 5 love languages. And this is a book that was written by Gary Chapman. I have a copy of it here. I think the first edition, I think, came out in the 80s or 90s. It summarizes 5 love languages, or ways that people express love in relationships. And so there's 5 of them, but you'll have 1 or 2 that are your primary love languages, the ones that are most important to you. And if you know these about yourself, then you can go into your relationships knowing that this is what you need. These are the things that make you feel loved and appreciated the most. So then you can go and communicate these to the people in your life and also ask them what their love languages are, so you can work with them and show up for the people in your life in the ways that they receive love the best. It's really interesting because so often we just assume that people around us think the way that we do or have the same needs that we do, and that's not always the case. We're all unique beings with unique needs, with unique stories and backgrounds, and with unique constitutions. So this is a really interesting conversation to have with the people in your life. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So words of affirmation is expressing your affection through spoken words, through compliments, through little love notes and text messages, and by sharing uplifting quotes and things like that. So if words of affirmation are your primary love language, then you most likely respond really well to compliments and, someone telling you that you're doing things really well or thanking you for the things that you're doing, things like that. The second love language is quality time. And this is one of my primary love languages, is quality time. So it's time where you are completely present with one another. You put away the phones, you turn off the computers, you have good engaging conversation with eye contact. You are doing things together, going for walks, going for hikes, whatever. Even, I have a couple of really good girlfriends. Our quality time is watching documentaries together and stitching, crocheting, and knitting on the couch. Like, that is, I love it. Quality time is all about thoughtful interaction, really spending that time being in the present moment together without distractions. And it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment. It's like, well, that's why it's called quality time. It's quality over quantity. You could have 20 minutes of beautiful quality time together where you're present, you're in the moment, you're sharing a beautiful experience, and that is so much more valuable than spending 3 hours together where you're distracted and on your phones and whatever. The third love language is physical touch. And physical touch is like holding hands, cuddling, even like kisses on the forehead, kisses on the cheek, just a brush of the arm, massage, slow dancing, things like that. If physical touch is one of your primary love languages, then you feel the most loved when you're physically interacting with your partner in some way. The fourth love language is acts of service. And this isn't like somebody being subservient to the other. It's nothing like that. It's just you doing little things for your friend or family member or partner that's helping them out. So it's like helping with the chores, the vacuuming, helping with the dishes, putting gas in the car, anticipating needs, making a cup of tea when you know that that's your partner's kind of afternoon ritual, taking on little things like that just make the day easier for them, that, if they're really busy and that task is kind of burdensome for them, it's just taking that off of their plate. And so if acts of service is your primary love language, then you'll notice all the little things that your partner does for you, and vice versa. And if it's your primary love language, that's probably how you show up for people too. It's, showing up with a coffee or helping people work through things, helping people move furniture. It's just things like that. You're the helping hands. The fifth love language is receiving gifts. And it's not just about getting the stuff. If this is your love language, then when you receive a gift, it's very personal for you. You appreciate not just the gift, but the time and attention that somebody put into picking the thing out for you or making the gift for you. You really appreciate all the love and time and attention that went into buying and or creating that gift. And with this, it's not about large or expensive gifts. It's the thoughtfulness behind the gift that is meaningful for people. And when you take the time to pick out a gift for someone, it shows that you're paying attention to them. You know their preferences, you know what they like, you know what would make them happy. And so that paying attention is what is so meaningful behind the gift, that thoughtfulness. It's not like you're just going out and buying something. It's that you know that person and you've been paying attention to them. And so people with this love language often remember every little gift that someone gave to them and when they got it and what that meant to them at the time. They remember all of the positive emotions around the giving and receiving of gifts. So sometimes in relationships, we're giving love out of our main love languages. And sometimes if the other person doesn't receive it in the same way we would, we think that they don't love us or they don't appreciate what we're doing for them. But it could just be that they have different love languages. So one person might give out a lot of compliments and words of affirmation and notice all the little things that they do for them and think that that is how their partner receives love the best. Meanwhile, their partner's main love language might be acts of service. And so they're showing their love by like cleaning the driveway or fixing the faucet or things like that. And they might not notice the words so much. They're just showing and giving and receiving love in a different way. So if you can learn your partners, your friends, your family's love languages, you can learn more about them, what they value, what's important to them, and then we can all learn how to love each other in a way that is really deep and meaningful to the other people in our lives. And this is just one framework, the 5 love languages. It's just one framework. I mean, there's other ways that we show and give and receive love, but I think if you look at these 5 and explore in yourself what of these 5 are most important to you, it's a really interesting exercise in just self-reflection and knowing yourself more. But when you start to ask the people around you, you might be surprised of what is important to them. And it brings a greater awareness to our relationships and to how we're showing up for each other. So I'm curious to know if you care to share in the comments. I'd love to hear what your main love languages are. So just to recap, the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So I'd love to hear which ones resonate with you the most. And I invite you to explore this with the people who are important to you. Ask them what their love languages are and see if you've guessed right or if there's one that's maybe a little bit of a surprise. It's really interesting to just see what's important to the people who are important to you. But learning your own love languages and learning to speak your partner's love languages can bring a really beautiful richness to your relationships and can kind of help to solve some communication issues sometimes. So I invite you to explore this with the people in your life. And if you care to share, I'd love to hear in the comment section. It's cool for us to see ourselves reflected back in the comment section. And I find that you guys are so intuitive and so supportive of each other. The comment section tends to be a really cool kind of meeting ground for like minds. So yeah, if you care to share, would love to hear what your love languages are. And if someone was floating through your mind while you were listening to this message, I invite you to share this video with them and have a discussion about it. All right. So thanks for being here. I'm going to leave it here for now. Thanks for sharing the video, subscribing to the podcast and the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Lots of love.